Shalom. This is Rabbi Mark Hillel Kunis and my Taste of Torah for Parshat Shemot 5781. Are you exhausted from all the political turmoil of the past several months, especially this past week? I know I am. Some are elated over the success of Joe Biden, John Ossoff, and Raphael Warnock. Others are crestfallen, thinking all their success was fraudulent. And for everyone, emotions are running high. And as we saw at our nation's capital yesterday, much too high. My message to everyone is that we all need to calm down and consider a verse from the book of Daniel 2:21. Mahade Malchin Umekayem Malchim. God removes kings and God establishes kings. What does this mean? It means that however you voted and whatever you believe about election misconduct, the bottom line is that God has a plan for this world. And God ensures that that world leaders that he needs for that plan are in place. So whether you voted for Joe Biden, whether you like Joe Biden or not, God needs him to be president at this time, just as he needed Donald Trump and Barack Obama in their time. We all did our part in the process by voting. Now we need to let go with the understanding that it is God's will. But don't we have free will? If so, how can God know what we're going to do before we do it? Did God know before you were born that you will be listening to this video now? Yes, God is all-knowing. Suppose you wanted to change what God knew you would do. Could you change it? Some believe that every minute detail of life is preordained in the sense that God knows everything that will happen. But there's a passage in this week's Torah portion that indicates otherwise. God appears to Moses in the burning bush and calls upon him to lead the Jewish people out of Egypt. Moses is reluctant and asks, Mi anochi ki elech el Paro, who am I, that I should go before Pharaoh? God gently reassures him that he will be with him. He gives him signs and wonders to perform. But what if the Jewish people won't believe me, he asks. God tells him they will heed your voice, and the elders of Israel will come before the king of Egypt with you. The problem is, after God commanded the elders to come with Moses before Pharaoh, the very next verse tells us, afterwards Moses and Aaron came and said to Pharaoh, let my people go. So Moses and Aaron go before Pharaoh. But where are the elders God had promised would go with Moses? Rashi in his commentary explains that the elders did go. But he says the elders slipped away one by one before they arrived at the palace because they were afraid. Wait a minute. Didn't God tell Moses at the burning bush that the elders would be with Moses when he came before Pharaoh? Does this mean that God does not know always what we're going to do before we do it? The elders freely chose not to participate in God's plan, and the future God had envisioned then had to change somewhat. As a result, according to Rashi, they diminished their relationship with God to the point that these elders were not allowed to go with Moses when he ascended Mount Sinai. So is it possible that we can change the future? Current scientific theory tells us there are an infinite number of realities existing all at once. Perhaps God sees all possible futures at once, but within the parameters of God's plan. we choose our future. So, my friends, yes, God can interfere with our free will when he must in order to fulfill his plan for the world, as we see when he hardened Pharaoh's heart after many of the plagues and did not allow him to free the Jews until the time was right. And God does what is necessary to put the leaders he needs into the world at any given time to help fulfill his plan for the world. The activities like voting and discussion around that are all part of God's plan. So however you voted, you were an important and necessary part of the process. So now, be calm and accept that. But apart from those kinds of extraordinary circumstances, know that what we do and what we make of our lives is up to us. Have a great Shabbos.